What's going on? Welcome to the Mint Condition. I'm Matt Minton.
Jason Lockwood.
Yeah. No, that's not true. Actually, I'm Jason.
I'm Matt.
And we're here. We host this podcast called The Mint Condition. And today we're talking about the importance of the user journey, which a lot of people out there may not know what that is. So I was hoping you could quickly explain to the people what's the user journey.
Yeah, so this is a really awesome question because the user journey is extremely important in the business cycle, in the buyer's journey and user journey. And that's really creating a flow that the user goes through to essentially educate them on your products and your services and answering all the questions they may have in that process. It's kind of like a guided salesman. You know, they can ask their questions and then they get the answers, but it's self-guided in this case. And so it's extremely important for your website to actually provide this experience, answer these questions, find out where that person is at in their buyer's journey or their user journey. It's kind of the same thing. And provide the answers to those questions in a very fluid, nice, appreciative, respectful way, while also guiding them towards the end result of generating a lead, buying a product, or calling you and showing up in your store with having just more education. You know, that they'll be coming in and they're actually a warm client by then because they've already answered, or because your website's already answered all their questions.
So the user journey is important because it's essentially a guide to get to where you want to go.
Exactly. And they might not even know where they want to go. That's why it's powerful. It's like you're figuring out based off of your personas of your best buyers what flow they usually go through, and you're architecting your website to bring them through that flow.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because essentially if you don't have a guide, you're a mess, or what you're viewing is perceived to be a mess.
Exactly.
And then you're just kind of out of there.
Yeah, because if you can't get answers to your questions, or your website brings more confusion, you know, your questions that you have as a viewer generates, like the website asks more questions of you and you're like, well, I don't know the answer to that. Okay. They're going to bounce and go somewhere else where they can get their answers.
So it is important for a business owner to focus on the user journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, or else the website's just there to be there.
True.
And then it's not a conversion vehicle. It's just sitting there hoping. We call that hope marketing. You're hoping that it's going to convert them from a viewer to a buyer.
So if you're not focused on your user's journey, you're just doing it wrong. I'll just tell you that right now. You got to focus on that. What do I need to make my user journey enjoyable and helpful towards me as a business owner?
Well, it's really great to provide content that speaks to multiple different people. You know, for me, bullet points, headlines speak very well to me. If you have this whole story about how you learned about all this stuff and then you're showing me the results, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to find someone that gives me the bullet points.
Okay.
But then if you find the person that does want to, or if a person finds you that does like reading those stories, then they're really good. So what you're trying to really accomplish is to communicate to all these types of people, the ones that like the stories, the ones that like it quick.
Right.
And so you could do that with proper content. Have headlines and bullet points intertwined in your content, and then if that content's linking to the various places to continuously answer more of their questions and guide them to the result, it works really well. You know, a good example of this is like when you were shopping for the espresso machine.
You don't need to tell people that.
I'm gonna tell people.
All right.
Because you had a lot of questions coming into it,
Yeah.
and you started asking those questions in Google.
Yes, I did.
And then you found all these other espresso companies. I'm sure you came across a commercial espresso company.
I did.
But there's no need for you to buy a commercial espresso machine. So if their whole user journey is selling their commercial machines, you're going to be out of there.
True.
But let's say they have personal machines that work really well.
Yes.
And if that user journey somehow figures out that you are just a personal user of espresso machines,
Right.
then those links will take you to the answers that you're looking for in the personal aspect of espresso machines and not the commercial aspect. So it's actually helping you answer your questions for what you're looking for, not answering questions you don't have, because you don't have commercial questions. You have, you know, residential questions.
So essentially what you're saying is that the user journey from a user vantage point is catering to my needs, and when you cater to my needs, I feel important and you seem like you care about, not that you don't, but you seem like you care about me and my needs.
That's like a good sales process.
And that makes me want to do business with you.
Well, it makes you want to do business, but it also guides you in realizing that company can do business with you.
Sure.
If all I was shown were commercial units, I would say, oh, this isn't me. I don't need a $10,000 commercial espresso machine.
Right.
I need just a single serve one.
Okay.
That might be $400 or $500. But then along that same token, you then went through the education process in just the personal ones where your budget was, one number. And then you realize that it didn't actually solve all the problems that you're looking to solve.
Yeah.
And so you actually upgraded yourself through education to go up to double the price.
Yes.
Because it solved all your problems. Did you talk to a salesman at all in that process?
No. In fact, this is actually the way that I try to explain the user journey to people, and please correct me where I'm wrong, but the user journey in my eyes is it's giving people exactly what they've always said they wanted, which is I walk into a store, I just want to look around, I don't want to be bothered, don't ask me if I need help. When I need help, I'll ask you for it. And at that point, that's when I look for that contact us button, phone number, so on and so forth. Then I get in a hold of whoever I want to speak to, because maybe I can't find the exact answer I'm looking for, or maybe I found all the answers I'm looking for and I'm ready to make that person-to-person connection and go through with the procedure, or I've decided you might be the right place for me, but I'm not all the way there yet. So now I want to talk to a human. Yeah. So basically I'm getting what I want on my terms because you cared enough to lay it out for me in that way.
Yeah, and now you to the company, you're a warm lead because you're already educated. So you're gonna ask very specific questions.
I didn't know if you knew this, but I'm actually very hot. I'm not a warm lead, I'm hot.
You'd be a hot lead. But I do want to change something there because part of this user journey isn't just having a phone number randomly on the site, having a contact us page. That takes you being like, yeah, I do want to contact them.
Yeah.
Let me move my mouse and find the contact page and click it, or find the phone number and actually dial. It takes too much action. So a part of this user journey is also placing proper calls to action throughout your content so that either they can schedule time with a salesman or get them into your marketing funnel and actually provide them with some good content that they can exchange their email address and phone number for.
Okay.
And then you're providing them something of value as well.
Okay.
Now, we're not talking like a newsletter sign up.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. No one's going to sign up for that.
Okay.
What they'll sign up for is the 5 things to look out for when you're buying an espresso machine. Don't get caught with these 5 negative things. Make sure you don't buy an espresso machine with these 5 things, or make sure when you do buy an espresso machine, it has these 5 things.
Yes.
You're gonna put your email address in, you're gonna exchange your email address for this free content, and now what that does is a company's sales team now has your information. So what they should be doing is they get that lead into wherever that stuff's stored in their CRM, and a salesman should call them up right away. Because you are like the hottest of hot leads at that point.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned earlier that when it comes to digesting information, you personally are that bullet point person, right? Yes. You like to read that, get the key information so you can make an informed decision, which I totally agree with. But, there's essentially 3 different people out there, right? You have an auditory, you have a kinesthetic, and you have a visual. So how do I find that balance on my business site when I'm trying to create this user journey? Or is that something that I don't think about and I just rely on an agency to deal with?
Yeah, if you can get into the psychology of your buyer and land on all those points, you can do it yourself. But it is extremely hard to do it properly, and that's why you hire an agency that has access to marketing copywriters, because they understand this stuff. Yes. They know how to communicate to those folks. You hire an agency that has a video production team, because they can do the visual stuff. They can film the videos that disclose all this information and give the bulleted information about whatever you're showcasing in the video.
All right. What if I am being told that and I have a different vision altogether and I still feel like I can achieve these things, but I want to do it my way?
That's a really great question. I would ask you to look at your data. It all comes down to data. Okay. Where the issue arises is when people get too emotional about this stuff, but it's business. It all comes down to data. What is the data telling you? Are all the decisions you've made for your business generated revenue for you?
Sure.
Has it generated enough? Have you continued growing, or have you remained stagnant? So the question becomes, are your tactics that you're implementing driving your business to the next level? If they aren't, or you don't feel like it's fast enough,
Yes.
then an agency makes sense.
Sure.
You should follow everything a successful agency is telling you to do, because they know how to do it. They've done it for clients before.
Right.
So the question to ask is, have I done this before? You know, me as a business owner?
Yeah.
Have I been able to grow my business, 5x
Yeah.
from this year or last year to this year?
Sure.
If the answer is no, then there's something you maybe just don't know you don't know.
Right.
And so you hire an agency because they know all that stuff. And they can help guide you.
What tools do I need to make the user journey enjoyable? Like, how do I keep the person on my site just digesting all the information that they want to begin with? How do I make that fun?
So we did actually talk about communicating properly to the various folks that are going to be reading and consuming your content. Yeah. So really the answer to this is you need to be fun and enjoyable for each of those people. And what we typically do is figure out your top personas that are your top customers.
Okay.
Look at your top 3 customers and figure out how you actually got them in, what kind of people they are.
Okay.
Some businesses have a very specific persona where it's all analytical people. If that's the case, you're not going to have stories about everything. You're going to be very specific with bullet points.
Sure.
But if your persona is more so about reading stories or I don't know, like being out in the world and exploring and having adventure, well, they're going to want the stories. Like if you're an outdoor company selling tents, you're not going to have bullet points. You're likely going to have more story to discuss the adventure.
Right.
You're really wanting to put that persona into that experience of owning your tents or your outdoor gear. And you do that through stories. But then also I like adventure, but I'm analytical, so I do like the bullet points. So you start with story, you have headlines that kind of walk your analytical people through the article, so they don't have to read all the crap in between. They don't have to read the story. They can read the headlines, get the bullet points, see that, it does all these things. It ticks off all these boxes. Let's go. I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
But you want to also solve for the people that want to read the stuff. And then the visual people like images and videos. So the best thing I can say is you want all of that very fluid and very real, I guess is the best way to say it. Like you don't want to feel like you're just throwing up everything onto this page that's all for everyone.
Yeah.
You want it to be, this is why a copywriter is so important. Like it's hard to explain because a copywriter just gets this. They write in this way already, and that's why it's important to hire the professionals to do this stuff, because it is hard to write stuff like this. Because each person typically writes the way that they like to consume data. I write in bullet points. You've seen my emails.
Yes. Yes.
I want 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But then you get the people that write the 2-page emails.
Sure.
You know who's doing this really well, and they've actually spent a ton of money to make sure they do this right, is Amazon. I'm sure you've experienced where you go onto an Amazon product page and some of them look a little bit different. It's because they're using data to support what they are trying to accomplish, which is more sales.
Sure.
And so you'll see that on Amazon they have tons of pictures for the visual.
Yes.
There's actually studies out there that have found that pictures with text in them pointing to the different benefits that product has actually works better. And then you'll notice that there's bullet points on the right side with a buy button right next to it.
Right.
That's for me.
Right.
Boom, I want that. Click. And then if you want more information, you scroll down and it gives you, this is based on the person selling it, but there's typically a lot more info with more pictures.
Some type of description.
Yeah, a description. But the descriptions that are just a stack of text typically don't work very well. It's the ones where it's like staggered, where you have the image and some text, and then image and then some text. And then for that social proof, which is also important, we haven't actually talked about this yet. Social proof is very important in the user journey. So when you're scrolling down on Amazon, you see all the reviews. How many products have you looked at that had 3 stars, and you're like, no, I'm gonna move on to the 5-star one?
I honestly, in full disclosure, I always look for 5 stars, if not 4. And then I do look at the reviews. I specifically am looking for anybody that's posted a video of the product that they already have.
There you go, visual. So what we can learn from that, Amazon has millions upon millions of dollars to just spend on split testing product pages. What we can learn from that is let's implement some of that stuff into our content.
The two things that I think about Amazon for the most is I look at the product that I'm interested in and I immediately see, well, maybe not immediately, but moments later, not too far down, is frequently bought with.
Yep.
And then right underneath that is other customers that viewed this also viewed. And then right underneath that is recently viewed by you.
Yep.
So this is them controlling my user journey.
I feel like that's them attempting to monetize, find other ways to monetize. Because me as an Amazon seller, I pay to get in those different spots. I feel like that's what that is, because they're like, oh, you're interested in this, you are likely going to buy this at the same time, so let's make some money getting people into that spot. Yeah, they control the journey because it keeps you focused on that one item, and so you might be like, oh man, okay, I'm going to spend $20 on this, but this one that's just like it, that has better reviews, is $40, and it has some extra stuff. Maybe there's 2 things in it instead of 1. I want that. So it actually like increases your customer value by just putting it in front of you. It's kind of like if you're shopping for the espresso machine,
Yeah.
and you're at that one budget point, and there's the bullets for what it does, and then it's like, some of our customers liked this one that's twice the price, but here's all the stuff it has on top of it. This is actually why comparison tables are so powerful.
Right.
Where it's like product 1, product 2, product 3. Amazon does this as well.
Yes, they do.
And there's check marks for what you get for each one. It's all different ways to showcase the same thing. Here's product A, it does this stuff, solves this stuff for you. Is that enough for you? Or product B, it does all this stuff for a little bit more. Does that do it for you? Or, you kind of self-select on where you need to be in that stack. What's really great is when you go through this process as the user, you're now educating yourself. And so when I then go into the espresso shop, in this case, let's say they have a physical shop, and that's the goal of the website, is to get me to come in.
Yeah.
Then I could talk to the salesman and have very qualified questions. My questions won't be, hey, I'm interested in an espresso machine.
Right.
Think about how much easier it'll be if I walk in and the sales guy's like, hey, what's up? And maybe you won't say that, but you'll go in and then you'll be like, hey, so I'm looking at this espresso machine. My budget started at $500. Now I'm about $750 because of all this stuff that it does.
Yeah.
Can I see that machine? Like now, the only thing is, can I see it? Can I touch it? Can I feel it?
Right.
And then to just ask any last minute questions.
Okay.
That journey from you in the shop to buying it is maybe 10, 15 minutes versus if your site doesn't have a user journey built into it and all this education built into it, that process could take way longer because now that salesman's having to answer all those questions for me.
Okay. I was talking about how Amazon does the, frequently bought with and that kind of thing. And I understand featured spots and how people might pay for that. But another thing that I recently bought, since we're talking about things I've been shopping for, is I got a new phone recently. So I got a couple of things for it, case, so on and so forth. And also within that research process, I obviously checked out a bunch of different companies. And there are a few companies out there that'll say, yeah, get this case, you should also get this screen protector too. So in this case, are they trying to cater a user journey for me and the things that I'm looking for because it's solely kind of like their platform, nobody's paying to get on it? Or is it they're just trying to monetize my time?
I think they're just smart,
That's fine too.
They're looking at their personas.
Yeah.
The people who buy cases might drop their phones a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what cases you're looking at, but let's say you're looking at cases that were made specifically for filming.
Yeah.
Well, you're actively using your phone all the time with one hand, so it can easily fall.
Yeah.
And you need to protect your screen when you're using it actively.
Yeah.
Me, I don't use my phone actively. It's sitting on a cradle and on my desk while I'm coding all day.
Yeah.
So because you're buying a case that's potentially for filming,
Yes.
they're like, well, typically the people who buy this need to protect their screens too, or their phones are very important to them to look like they're in pristine condition.
Yes.
So let's also sell them something that's going to improve that experience. Let's make their experience even better.
So you're saying I should have bought the wrist strap?
It came with a wrist strap.
I didn't. Like there was an option. I didn't buy it because I thought it was for like a DSLR, but it turns out because I do that thing where I watch the videos after I buy it. I found out this is supposed to, and I could,
Yeah, if it improves your user experience. But they're being really smart about it because they know what their customers like. And a lot, huh?
They're upselling.
Yeah, exactly. They're upselling, and that's...
They didn't explain the strap very well either, or I would have gotten it.
Well, then there's a breakage there. And that's also a learning is you could be doing most of the things right, but if you tweak that one little thing,
That can make a difference.
how much better would your sales be?
Yeah, it would have, I think in their case, been about $40, $50 better.
Yeah, exactly. Times 100, 200, 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where data comes into play. Really being able to look at the data that your website's producing, and based off being able to control this user journey as well, seeing how many people are going page to page to page, how many people are going to your first page and bouncing, how many people are arriving on your blog. It's typically where people will show up because they're asking Google questions.
And this is one of the big things that you kind of advertise with your builds for your clients, right? Like we make sure that you have that data so you can make informed decisions as you grow or as you scale.
Exactly. Could you imagine making business decisions without having access to your books or reporting, a P&L, balance sheet, all that stuff?
Yeah.
Then it's just hope marketing. You're hoping that things work to increase the value of your business or increase your revenue.
So in essence, agencies control their user journey.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because there's some agencies that want to work with certain types of clients.
Yeah.
And others that want to work with different, the agencies solve problems for different types of clients.
Well, that's something you won't get on Fiverr.
That's true. Plus with agencies, you get access to a big team instead of just one person.
True.
So you get access to plenty of different skill sets.
Okay.
And also that means your one project is not being handled by one developer who only has 40 to 80 hours in a week. Mm-hmm. You have access to, whatever, 5 or 6 times 40 hours is.
Okay.
Was that 200 hours? You're basically creating time. You got access to 200 hours a week, not just 40.
True. Okay. So now that I know what a user journey is and how important it is for me to focus on it, what are, let's say, 3 key components that somebody should pay attention to when constructing that perfect journey for their visitors?
Well, they need to know their personas.
Okay.
How can you market if you don't know who you're marketing to?
True.
I mean-
you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to be talking to someone specifically, and that's actually a change we had to make early on because we were marketing to everyone. Mm-hmm. And by exactly what you just said, then you're marketing to no one. You don't appeal to anyone. So you need to appeal to a very specific type of business or your niche or your market, and then you'll be able to build the user journey around that.
Okay.
So, I mean, espresso machines. We keep going back to this. I keep bringing us back to this.
Yeah, I'm wanting a cup of coffee right now.
So imagine if you're this espresso company or espresso machine company
Yeah.
trying to promote to tea drinkers. Doesn't make sense, right?
No.
No. Most tea drinkers love tea and they don't really enjoy espresso so much. I mean, you'll find people that do, but in the grand scheme of things, you're either a hardcore tea drinker or you're a hardcore coffee drinker.
Where my coffee people at?
Now, I kind of span the line between both.
Yeah.
I do like tea and I do like coffee. Okay. I don't know that I would ever buy an espresso machine. So would they want to market to me? I don't know. So the commercial side of it. So if their user journey is specifically for personal, then I'm going to be like, they're not going to build that persona around me unless they have a commercial division.
Yes.
And if they have commercial machines, then their user journey needs to somehow get me into that journey. And this is where strategy comes into play.
I really like where this is going because this is telling me that the strategy of getting you to get a commercial espresso machine for the office is working. This is good.
Oh, man.
I'm controlling this user journey, guys.
Yeah, you are. Getting me excited about it. I keep talking about it.
You should totally get it because I will make you a latte a day and make a little design and everything.
All right, as long as the design's different every day, I'm in.
Oh, you're going to need a lot of practice.
Yeah.
You're going to need a lot of practice. But yeah, no, I get it. I get it now. I get it.
So that was one thing.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, the personas that
Yes.
you need to market to them with. Then you need to develop the strategy to actually figure out how to market to those people. And this is where you should actually pick up an agency and have them help you form this, because copywriters are extremely important in generating this. I mean, you can attempt to write it yourself and do a pretty good job. If you do that, I recommend you look at the data, track everything, and then see where you're at. And if you feel like you can get more out of it, then hire a copywriter and see how much better that they can raise that. That's essentially your baseline, and that's where data is extremely important. You build that baseline, you hire an agency, and then you see how much higher they bring that up.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have nothing to compare it to, and you might think, oh, this actually isn't doing anything, because you don't know, you don't see the data, you're not reading the reports.
Right.
So the third thing is to just make sure that along this user journey, you're really giving the customer all the answers they're looking for. Make it about them. I mean, that's why we started businesses. That's why you started your business. You started it to take care of and service your customers. It's not this thing where you're like, hey, look at me, do everything I'm doing. You're only buying this because of me. We're doing it. We have this business to provide a service to you to make your life better, or to increase your revenue, or to make you happier, make your spouse happier, whatever your business is. That's what it's about. So make sure that everything you communicate to them is about them. It puts them on a pedestal, and you're merely the company that's going to give that to them.
Man, I'm really glad you said that, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to make this whole conversation that we had today about you. Give us a call at 866-543-9988 or visit us at our website. Schedule a call with us at
mintonmedia.com.
With that, we bid you adieu. Thank you for tuning in to The Mint Condition. Stay tuned for the next episode. You can catch us next week right here on The Mint Condition.